Hello students, today our topic is decimals. Now, what are decimals? Decimal numbers are numbers that are in between whole numbers. Now for example, I'll give you an example. We have a number that is 12.5. Okay. Now, the number that is before the decimal point is the whole number. But the number which is number 5, which is after the decimal point, is a fraction. Now, you need to understand how to know the place value of these numbers. Have a look at the numbers given here. The number that you see, 2, is your ones. But the number that you see next to 2 is your tens. But let's suppose if I add another digit to it, let's make the digit 6. What do you call the third digit? This is your hundredths. Okay? But if I keep adding more digits, then it will become 1,000, then 100,000, then 10,000, and so on. Okay? But let's move on to the right side. The number that you see after the decimal point. What do you call this number? What is the place value of this digit? The place value of this digit is tenths. Let's just have a look at the digit and have a look at the spelling here. It is tenths. So how do you write tenths as a fraction? It is 5/10. Any number that comes after the decimal point is a fraction. So the first digit that you see here is your tenths. All right, let me add another digit. Okay, now what do you think the second digit stands for? It stands for a hundredth. A hundredth. Have a look at the spelling here. What does hundredth mean? 4/100. This is how we write this number as a fraction. Okay? Let me add on another figure. What do you think the place value of this digit be? Let's have a look at it. The third digit which I added up should be your thousandth. It is a thousandth. Okay? So how do you write this digit 3 as a thousandth? It will be written as 3/1000th. 3/1000th. Did you get that? This is how we write it. So remember the place values of the digit. I explained it to you. Wait, just need to show you this. This is how it looks like. Okay? Digit before the decimal point is the whole number. You know the place values of these. Digit after the decimal points are the fractions. First digit known as tenth, the second digit known as hundredth, and the third digit is known as your thousandth. 5/10, 4 upon 100, and 3 upon 1000th. Now have a look at the figures given here. Represent each decimal as a fraction. You can see a figure drawn here. There are 10 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out of the 10 parts, how many parts are shaded? 6 parts are shaded. So how do you write this as a fraction? The shaded parts are 6, and how many are the total parts? 10 parts. 6 upon 10. 6 upon 10 is the fraction. If I ask you to write this as a decimal, it is very simple. How many parts are shaded? Only 6 parts. So if I write this as a decimal, my answer would be 0.6. And as I have already explained it to you, that the number that you see after the decimal point, what does it stand for? It stands for tenths. This is the 10th. Okay, so if you're going to write this as a decimal, your answer would be 0.6. Let's move on to another figure, and let me bring this a little closer. Okay, now you can see another figure drawn. How many parts are there in the figure? There are 10 parts. Okay, and how many parts have I shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 parts out of 10 parts are shaded. Total parts were 10, and 5 parts were shaded. So how do we write this as a fraction? 5 upon 10. But if you are asked to convert this as a decimal, how would you convert this as a decimal? 0, because there's no such whole number there. It's just a simple 5 upon 10 here. So we're going to write down 0.5. Understood that? 0.5 is going to be written as a decimal. Now you have another figure. The question basically is represent each mixed number as a decimal. Children, what is a mixed number? We have done this in class. Mixed number is having a numerator, a denominator, and a whole number. When you have, just see the figure here, there are 3 figures drawn, but don't you see the figure, the first figure, which is completely shaded? So there's no fraction here, it's just a whole number. Okay, so what do you see here? One whole figure is shaded. When you see another one, yes, the same thing here. One whole figure is shaded. Moving on to the third figure, it too has the 10 parts there, but how many parts are shaded? 8 parts are shaded. So when 8 parts are shaded, how do you write this? These 8 parts. 8 parts are basically, it's going to be written, if I write this as a fraction, I will write 8 upon 10. So how many whole numbers there? One whole figure shaded and another whole figure is shaded. So it means 2 whole figures are there. So if I write my answer, 2 whole, 8 upon 10. Isn't it so? If there are 2 holes, 2 holes will come on this side. 8 upon 10 8 parts are shaded out of 10 parts. So 8 upon 10. If I ask you to write this 2 whole 8 upon 10 as a decimal, how would you write it? 2.8 will be my answer. Why 2.8? Because 2 whole numbers. This 2 is representing the whole number. 8 upon 10, it's going to be 0.8. Since there is a whole number, we will not write 0.8. But instead of a 0, we will add up the whole number here. Clear? Now I will draw a rough figure here. I'll make 2 circles, okay, and I will make the third circle having how many parts? 10 parts. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Let's see, let's add up another here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. I'll add up another here. Okay, children, now let's have a look at this figure. This figure, if I shade these 2 circles, completely shaded, basically these are the whole numbers, okay, these two numbers are these 2 circles are shaded, so these 2 are going to be our whole numbers, 2 wholes. But if I shade, how many parts did I make? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So if I shade only 2 parts, so how will I write this as a fraction? 2 upon 10. 2 upon 10. And let us now convert this as a decimal. So 2 point what? 2 upon 10 when written as a decimal, 0.2. But since there are 2 whole numbers here, so I'm going to write down 2.2. This is going to be my answer. Alright, moving on to another exercise. I'm sure you will understand it because we have done it with the figures, but this time we are doing it without figures. Now this question is there in your books, page number 4 in your activity books 4B. Okay, so I'm on page number 4. Question number 6. The question is, represent each mixed number as a decimal. You just see the first question here. How do you write this as a decimal? There is a whole number here, so we're going to write down 2.1. But if there was no whole number, then the answer would have been 0.1. But if there is a whole number, then you're going to write down 2.1. Let's move on to the second part. This is a C1 I'm doing. How do you write this one? 6.8. The whole number is 6. It will be before the decimal point, and your 10th, that is your 10th, will come this side. Okay. Okay, now you just tell me, what do you call this number? 2 is your whole number. Okay, but after the decimal point, what do you call this number? 1/10th. TENTH, if you remember the spelling. The same goes here. 6.8. So 8 is your 10th and 6 is the whole number. Let's do the B part. 5 whole 7 upon 10. So what do you think you're going to write down here? 5 is the whole number, which is going to be coming before the decimal point, and your 7 comes here. Okay, and if I do the last one, the answer would be 8.9. Now students, you will be revising questions like this in your workbooks, in your activity books, and if you want, you can try to make some more questions of your own and get them done. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the lecture, and I'll be coming up with a few more questions on decimals very soon. All right, goodbye for now.